Hey guys, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty, giving you my weekly comic book review for March 29th, 2023. All right, all the wonderful frugal friends out there, you are amazing. Thanks for joining me today. Anyway, I did my weekly comic book reading. This week, I will say, was pretty sparse. It was probably the least amount of comic books that I've read, but it was a couple of reasons. One, I was just really busy, and then I didn't care for a whole lot of the selection out there. So for those of you who are new, you're going to hear my notes rattle. You might hear some clicks too. That's me keeping notes and things. But let's dig in here, by the way. I grade everything on a scale of 0 through 10, 10 being the absolutely best, 7 being average, sort of like school grading. 70% is considered average. That'd be in the 7 range. So you're probably going to normally see more in that range than others. I'm going to give you my views, and you might have different views, and that's okay too. Matter of fact, if you think I missed something, there's something I should have read, let me know in the chat down below. I will say right off the bat, one of the books that you're going to notice that's not on this for this week is the Stargirl book, and that's because I reviewed it last week. So that one's going to be missing. If that was on there, that would probably been the #1 book of the week, just for the record. So if you've been missing the Stargirl series, you should have been reading that. So here we go. I'm going to start with, I usually get my top and bottom 3, but I only did 6. So I'm going to go from the bottom right on up. And my number 3 in the bottom of the bin, okay, was Planet Hulk World Breaker #5 with a score of a 6.9. Once again, I gave it a 6.9. And, well, here we go. Let's get in that. The world broken 1,000 years in the future. Greenskin Hark and Attila and her brother Balo are all reviled and persecuted on planet Sakaar. And just so you know, I'm using the League of Comic Book Geeks for information on this, just to give you a little bit of the background on that, as well as the information of the writers and things. The writer was Greg Pak. Penciler was Manuel Garcia, which I probably butchered. Inker was Cam Smith. And I will say, this is a short story miniseries. The cover was good. I'll give it that. Planet of the Geeks said 10 out of 12 liked it with an average of 4 rating. That's a pretty small grouping of numbers there. That means not a lot of people are probably buying this. And to be honest with you, I can see why. I didn't think it was that good. The cover art's good, as I was saying, but it's really, the interior art not near as good. It's not a very good ending either. Nothing really that great of a build up there. And if you absolutely have to have this, get it into trade. But to be honest, this mini-series of 5 issues, I think it's best just to skip it. It really wasn't anything fantastic. Well, that's my thoughts on that book. I really would like to hear yours, by the way, if you think I'm wrong. Now, this next one I'm going to give my thoughts on. Pretty controversial. I was on a live stream just yesterday, and some people disagree with me here, and you know, I think they have some valid good reasons for her. So my next one, my number 2 at the bottom, was the Invincible Iron Man #4. Yeah, and I gave it a 6.4, though on the League of Comic Geeks, 47 out of 48 liked it, the 4.4 rating. So that means a lot more like it. And still, for an Iron Man book, I was hoping to see more readers in the 40s. I usually like to see around 100 or so. Then you know the book's probably doing pretty good. But anyway, genius, billionaire, playboy, madman, Tony Stark has met his dark counterpart. And his name is Fei Long. This mutant-hating industrialist is the new owner of Stark Unlimited. And that includes all of Tony's tech. Can a furious Tony keep his cool? Or will vengeance get the better of him? The writer was Jerry Duggan. The artist was Juan. I'm not even going to try to butcher that last name there, okay? But this is legacy issue, by the way, of 654. So he's getting close to 700 mark. Now, here's the thing. This issue would have gotten a 7.4 from me. And this is where I think it's controversial, okay? The reason I gave it a point deduction was because the ridiculous anti-Trump thing. They have to always stick in these Trump jabs. And I think maybe I'm overly harsh here because I'm just sick of it. I am tired of the little political haha. And here's the other thing too. At this point, you've had this much time. If you're going to take a stab at a political opponent or whatever, or somebody with a different view, at least do it in a witty way. this was not witty in my opinion. So I would have probably otherwise deducted half a point, but I get a full point because it was just such a lazy way. So as you see in this picture here, this is it. So if you think I overestimated the damage of that based on that, that's okay too. Let me know. I'm even questioning, did I overdo it with that and let it taint my views? Because otherwise the book has got good art and decent, and it's got pretty good action too, and the story has been pretty good. So I mean, this is an issue. As I said, I would have given a 7.4, a much higher score, but that is where I give a deduction. Did I overdo it? Let me know. I'd really like to hear your opinions, because some other people thought, yeah, I probably overshot it a little bit. And you know what? That's very possible. I'm not butthurt or anything like that. It's just didn't quite make it there for me. All right, now the bottom of the bin. So far we've been building up to the worst. 3, 2, 1, and this is the bottom of the bin. If anybody's been paying attention to this channel, you probably know what the bottom one is going to be. But please hear me out here and you'll see why. And I have some good things to say about it too. And that's Tim Drake Robin number 7. The cover sucks, it looks stupid, but I gave this book a 5.5 out of 10. 41 out of 58 liked it. And they had a 3.5 average rating. So it's a little higher rating than what I would have given it. Surprising the amount of people actually reviewed it, but who knows why. Anyway, a new dawn rises on Tim Drake and the Gotham Arena as a new chapter of Robin's story begins. I don't really think it's that big of a chapter. If we're going to get much of a story arc, it's not going to be much, because this series is getting canceled at issue number 10, and that's probably the best thing I can say about it. So it's sort of funny when the writing here says, but how long can this sense of calm last? Really, it's sort of a one-off kind of story. 41 out of 58 liked it, 3.5 average, surprising me. Megan Fitzmartin wrote this, and it doesn't surprise me because she's not a great writer in my opinion. She hasn't really wrote much that I think is any good, and this is no real difference there. But the artist Serg, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name, is probably where I have to give this book some credit. What I mean by that is the art was much better in this issue than it's been in the entire series, so I like that, except for the cover is a little lame too. Once again, the dialogue shows that this writer has never really thoroughly read or understands the original Robin ongoing series. It has ridiculous cliche writing, and then think about this, the villain's name, Phobia. Well, come on now. Can we get any more on the nose than that? This is just not good writing. The art was the only thing really that it almost got the book up higher than what it was with a 5.5, but I just can't get over how much damage they're doing to this character with bad writing. And I know all the Phobia people are going to come after me for that, like they usually do. But let's be honest, this writer goes out of her way to contradict the character's past, to retcon all that. And that's why this whole character change falls flat with Tim Drake Robin. If you want the Tim Drake Robin fans to read this book that stuck with Robin for 183 issues in his last full series, then maybe actually write him like Tim Drake Robin rather than trying to change everything about the character. I think it's proving here that it doesn't last, and that's a shame because I was a huge fan of the Tim Drake Robin. I still am. I just hope that they do him better. It's just not good. And really, if you read the dialogue, you'll see it's like they went out of their way to try to retcon the history. I always knew you were that way, Tim. No way. No friend would have thought that way of Tim Drake if you've seen his relationship with Stephanie Brown. And on top of that, his good old buddy Bernard there never displayed anything even remotely close to being gay. The cliche of the parents that can't stand you because you're gay and everything is there. This book is just too much of a cliche. It's terrible. 5.5. The best thing about this series is that it's ending in 10. All right, now we're going to go through the top 3, and those are my last ones. My number 3, and this one is a step up from the last one. I didn't have a lot of hope for this one since I read the previous one. And that's Lazarus Planet Revenge of the Gods number 2. Yeah, this issue I gave a score of a 7. 54 out of 59 liked it with a 3.7 average rating. The gods have leveled up and Shazam is no match for them. After Wonder Woman's changing of sides to save her Amazon sisters, Billy must use his quick, fading wisdom of Solomon to formulate a plan to stop his world's destruction. Little does he know a secret ally awaits him in Olympus. But how will he make it there? Sounds like a job for Wonder Girl. And here's the thing that, you know what, overall, I was pleasantly surprised, henceforth why this got the score it did out of 7, though I will say 54 out of 59 liked it with a 3.7 average on League of Comic Book Geeks. And really, G. Willow Wilson. I usually don't like much of her work. She did good here. And the writer also was Becky Cluland. Maybe that's why, because it had another writer too involved. Maybe she did the heavy lifting. I don't know. Another writer too, Michael Conrad. So we took 3 writers for this whole thing. I don't know how that's working out there. The artist, Emanuela. And there's another penciler, Alita. Once again, please look those up on your own. I'm not trying to be mean or rude or disingenuous to those people. I just am terrible at pronouncing names, and I will butcher them to no end. So anyway, the first issue I dogged on because they pictured Shazam, and we really didn't get Shazam. This one, we get a lot of Shazam. So that's great. But one thing is I know Shazam's young, but why does DC consistently like to belittle him so much here for that? And we see that a lot in this issue. It's just, is it because he's a guy, or is it because he's a boy and they just think it's funny? I mean, really, I get he displays some of those boyish things, but they seem to overdo it here. But the art is really good, and this is a much better issue than the last. So maybe this miniseries Lazarus Planet will be picking up and becoming something good. I'm really interested to see how the next issue goes. If it'll continue to the tilt in the good way, or go back to the bad. My number 2. And this one was a little bit surprising because I'm going to be honest with you, I expected complete garbage out of this, sadly. And when I say that too, I don't say that with happiness, because this is one of my favorite. This is not one of mine. This is my favorite team, the Avengers, and this is Avengers Beyond #1. So we have another little mini series. I gave this book a 7.1. 25 out of 28 liked it, showing that not really a strong showing for sales potentially here with a 3.8 average rating. And I got some issues with this, and I'm going to talk about that. The writer is Derek Landy, and the artist is Greg Land. So yeah, you're going to get some of those Greg Land faces. You know, everyone's looking like they're showing their old face. Someone has been manipulating the Avengers for the past several months. If you read the last miniseries, you'll be aware of that. Altering the very fabric of reality in an attempt to prepare the planet for the threat that could destroy everything. Here now is the unseen individual is to be dragged kicking and screaming from the shadows and into the light. And is revealed to be none other than the Beyonder. Yes, we have another thing of the Beyonder, but here's the thing I take issue with. And we got Beyonder right now, another Beyonder, I will say, in the Monica Rambeau series. Just if you haven't been checking that out, you might want to. But we got more of the traditional Greg Land art with the faces, which is, you know, a little bit there. But some of otherwise his art is okay. But at some point, a writer has to know they went too big and too far. And we've been seeing that with Avengers. Every event is like, okay, we got to up the last one. And they've just gotten so big, so magnanimous. It's almost like, why are the Avengers even there? They're just so overshowered, overpowered constantly. It's who can top the next one? And it's gotten so big, I think it's lost its relevance. You know, sometimes you may need to go back and dial it back a little bit to, hey, Captain America's going to bust him in the face with a shield, and he's going to punch him back. But instead, we got these almighty, super powerful things. We need a MacGuffin. It's just too much, and I think it's taking away from it. I think it's losing its impact. We've went so big, trying to go so big, that we've lost its impact. So remember when the Beyonder first came about, I was like, wow, this guy's super powerful. He's the Beyonder. And now we realize there's a whole community of Beyonders. And there's something more powerful. It just seems like it loses, when we keep getting so big, we lose the story, we lose the characters in the mix. I'd really be interested in your thoughts about that. Are you sick of trying to one-up each one in power, and maybe we just need some more grounded stories? Or do you enjoy this and you like that continues to put the Avengers under the thumb of the growing power of the universe? Which is fine. I would really like to hear your thoughts. All right. Now for my #1 book. And this one is going to be controversial because some people don't like it. Here we go. My #1. Are you ready? It's DareDevil. Yeah, DareDevil #9. I gave it a 7.3. Boy, on that stream I was on, Daredevil's taking some hits there. And this is written by Chip Zdarsky. The artist is Manuel Garcia. And I could see why. There was some butthurt for the reasons why the score was lower. And I get that. But I think this book is selling well because 109 out of 120 liked it. That's a pretty high number. Usually I think the book's selling pretty good when we see numbers of reviews like that with a 4 average rating. For over 3 years, Daredevil's life has been a living hell. Between the can't speak. Well, anyway, we all know what he's fighting in here and all that's going on. Matt Murdock's built a team of his own, but it doesn't look good, and things haven't been working well for him, and he's been getting busted down a lot. But the ending is what really shakes it up for a lot of people. I will say I did not like the art at all in this issue. I don't know why they picked this artist. It just didn't work. But ready? There is going to be some spoilers. So I'm gonna repeat that. There is going to be a spoiler here. So if you do not want to be spoiled, fast forward this for a couple seconds, okay? Here's your spoilers. Foggy is dead. Yes, they killed Foggy Nelson, but it was off panel. Stick as well. So there is what we're going to be spoiling here. But when they kill things off panel, people off panel, it leaves a lot of leeway to bring them back. But as far as we know, Foggy Nelson is now dead. At the very end of the issue, we've got the Avengers there to tackle Daredevil, which is funny because at the end of the issue of Punisher, the Avengers are there too. So are they at two places at one time? What the heck? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense here, continuity wise. But hey, it is what it is. So a lot of people really didn't like that, and I get that. I'm not a big fan of killing big characters either. I don't want Foggy to be dead. One of the reasons I downplay a little bit is because he was off panel. So is he really dead? Only time will tell. So if that angers you and makes you downgraded, I get it. That's fine. Now, I want to say thank you to these people here. Without these people, this channel would not be possible. They help support the channel through Patreon, as well as Subscribe Star, or even simply hitting like and subscribe will go a long way. Since you stuck out with me this far, I greatly appreciate it too. These people are wonderful. Thank them. And I want to take a moment too to thank you for just even watching this. And if you help support this channel, I'd be greatly appreciative of that, because we could use all the help we can get. So with that said, we're going to end it today. Until next time, peace.